My name is Mandisa Fajela. I'm from Cape Town, but I live in Pretoria now. I think the program came at the right time in terms of my experience, work experience, life experience. It's been a good learning journey, and the kind of material and interrogation of issues in the program have really assisted to be able to make some impact in terms of the policy direction of the country. It has impacted me fundamentally, especially because it will assist with the assessment of policy interventions in the country. I work for government, so I registered in the program. Because of that, I want to impact that part of service delivery that is informed by policy. I think it's about, it's a lot, but thinking out of the box. There's a lot of material that has been generated in terms of how we should be looking at various issues within the development and policy sphere. And I think learning about the PDIA, sitting in class and being reminded on how you implement monitoring and evaluation, looking at issues of ethical leadership have been very informative, especially against what has happened in the country in the past 10 years. Actually, this is my second master's. I did my master's first in sociology when I was in I passed in my 20s. So after such a long time, I decided to go back to school because I have two daughters at university. So I decided to invest in myself now and make sure that I revisit that which I thought I knew and catch up with what's new in terms of, the academic programs, but also in terms of really participating in future interventions to make South Africa a better place for service delivery. The country has serious service delivery challenges, and you need to always hone your skills to be able to be an active participant in that and assist, and not really always rely on consultants. Learning is a lifelong journey. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with it. Invest in learning. Don't wait for someone to say, go and learn this. Do it yourself. Do it the way you want to do it. But also know that by investing in yourself, you are really investing in your own future as well. And obviously, if you are passionate about your country, you are also investing in the future journey of your country. Like I said, I have a master's degree. I could have chosen not to do this, but I've chosen to do it because things change. So you have to continuously learn.
My name is Authur Masuka. I'm from Eastern Cape in a small town called Umbu. I am studying the Masters in Development Policy and Practice with the Nelson Mandela School of Public Governance with UCT. I think the program have helped me in three fundamental ways. The first one, I think, is empowerment. I think it has empowered me to be more evidence-based in terms of policy thinking and policy implementation. And that means then to be more scientific, to adopt more scientific tools in actually thinking about policy and how policy can best yield the results that we want. I think that's the first thing. I think the second one, it has also made me to be more reflective of the depth and the nature of the challenges that a public entity or the state faces in resolving its social problems and actually trying to have a more developmental and a more advanced economy. The last thing, I think, is because it's more of a policy-orientated program, but also with practice, it really tries to merge the two. To say, given the best theory that we have, this is how it can best be implemented in practice in different contexts and different experiences. The focus being different experiences of African countries and other developing countries in this regard. So I think that is important, yeah. I think the key things that I will take away, as I was saying, firstly, is that because now I'm more empowered and I'm more reflective in terms of thinking about public policy. If you think about it, if you're involved with public policy, you're dealing with, in essence, with 4 quadrants. The one being about the diagnosis of the problem in society, and the diagnosis of how our tools and our approaches are well suited to resolve the problem. So that's the first quarter of the quadrant. The second one being about the sort of interventions that we bring, so that would be your policy design, policy planning aspect. The third one being about then the nature of implementation that is needed. The last one being about then impact and evaluating that. So then this program really tries to dig deep on all those 4 quadrants to say how then are these quadrant helps to produce desired policy outcomes, and how then do we learn if we're not producing them? How do we become more adaptive? How become more learning? So I think it captures all those things in a more academically rigorous way, in a more practical way as well. Yeah. I think for me, actually, even now, because, for example, I've just started the role as a chief of staff, which is the head of office of a member of the executive, which is an MEC of the province of Eastern Cape. Just for the first 2 weeks that I've been in this job, I've just seen how important this sort of program would be important for senior or top management in making them to be more adaptable to the challenges. And I think you find that in most cases, I'm not sure, maybe this may not necessarily be for our department, which is social development, but across departments, to say we have a leadership that is more strategic, a leadership that thinks outside the box and is more rigor in terms of thinking. And I think this program would really assist in such cases. So for me, I think it would be to really advertise it, to share the experiences and take the lessons and infuse them into the practice in terms of how we are doing this public governance issue. But in the main, the big idea being how do we improve performance for the actual transformation of society. I think that is the ultimate measure of the program, is to what extent does it take its incumbents, its participants, and then that learning eventually translate into social change or socio-economic changes. But perhaps that may be a bigger idea, but we'll see the impact of the program when it starts to do that, participants coming from the program in their countries, in some way you can see a shift and improvement in how governance is being done. For potential students, I think for me, I've not seen in the country or even in Africa a program of this nature that has so much quality in terms of expertise. Professors that are here who have years as practitioners, who have years being in the field, whether in the World Bank, whether in a government and other entities. And I think it's the best opportunity for anyone who has any interest in policy-oriented learning. For me, this is the best program that you can try to get into. And that I'm saying that with certainty, yeah. I've not seen any other one that comes close to it, because it combines both the contact lectures and the research. So it's really adaptable, especially for people who are working. Yeah. So it's really, one of the best that I can think of. Yeah.
My name is Ndeu Amulungu. I'm from Namibia. I'm a Namibian born and bred there. Professionally, I work for the National Planning Commission that is under the Office of the President. I work in the Directorate of Monitoring and Evaluation. I deputize our director there, so that is what I do professionally. The program has impacted my life immensely, and I'm not just saying this for the sake of the interview. I've really grown professionally. The wealth of information that I've gained from this course is really quite enough for me to take my professional career forward in the direction that I've envisioned it to. The program is really packaged so well that, especially at the level of professionalism that where I am right now, it's quite what it's as if they knew what I needed. I needed to anchor myself into policy issues. I work in a space of policy matters. Obviously, my portfolio being a monitoring and evaluation person, I need to understand from the point of view implementation of programs, they are anchored into policies. So policy in my workspace matters quite tremendously. So I need to understand the bearings and the issues surrounding policies, because they do have an impact on what I do. So there's a close link to my work. The course has further exposed me to new issues related to my career in terms of monitoring and evaluation. We've been exposed to issues of numeracy. So it was a course that was really packaged. It's packaged so well. Talk about issues of leadership. When I saw in the program leadership course, I was like, not another leadership course again. But then the way they teach it is such an unconventional way that it does not only look at your issue, at leadership from the workplace or from a professional point of view, but it touches from also your personal life, how you handle your personal issues. So it is an unconventional way of doing it, and it's really quite helping, because we are human beings. At the end of the day, we're not only professionals, but everything that happens in our lives have a bearing to how we carry ourselves and how we do our work. It will quite, as I've said already, it has impacted my life in a tremendous way. This course will help me to take my career where I would like it to be. I would like to be part of the African professionals that are taking the development agenda of Africa forward. The development agenda that is based in evidence, that is evidence-based, not only being done in a haphazard way, but in a systematic way, whereby we can see how the policy is set up in an evidence-based way, how the policy is implemented is anchored into the process of monitoring, to monitor how our policies are they delivering what we have envisioned them to deliver. And also in terms of evaluating the impact, are our policies impacting on our people the way we have set them up to? So for me, it will really help me in my professional career, and it's really the direction where I want my career to take forward. It is worth it. It was an investment worth it. My time and resources have been put to a good use. So I'll become an advocate of this course. If I were to, I would ask everyone, or rather motivate everyone that is in development space, to be part of this course, because it's quite helpful, and you can only understand when you go through it. That's when you'll see how much it has changed you.
My name is Authur Masuka. I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm currently working as a program manager for the Netherlands Development Organization in Zimbabwe. It is a rich program. I especially liked the international outlook. I got an opportunity to interact with a wide network of diverse participants from different countries and to learn from their cultures. And it also brought in a multicultural perspective in terms of the staff. The lecturers with different backgrounds and quite rich in terms of experience. So I learned quite a lot from this program that I'm going to take away and try to implement in my day-to-day life. Quite a lot, but the leadership course was striking for me because it was quite a different perspective of all the other leadership programs that I've attended. It was a different way of doing business, and I think I learned a lot from that I will use in my workplace and also in my own personal life. Yeah, so I can safely say now I'm a better leader than when I joined the program. Secondly, the PDIA was quite a good and useful tool. So when I did my assignment and I got to practice it, I found it to be quite useful, and it's something that is applicable in my work setting. And also, I learned quite a lot in terms of policy making. I had experience in development, but not specifically in policy. So I think from this program, I'm going to take away a lot in terms of how policy making is actually done and how to analyze it. In my personal life, I learned how to be married to self and also married to others, and how to become a better father. From the coaching that I had with Chris Breen, I also learned to become a better parent and to be useful in my personal setting at home. So I think it has been helpful. Like I mentioned before, I mostly learned from the leadership course, and also learned how to do dynamic inquiry. When I did the assignment on dynamic inquiry, I gathered quite a lot of information about the culture of my organization and how I interact with fellow workers in my organization, and how to improve in terms of working with others. So there's quite a lot that I can safely take away from this program. Also, in terms of development, I can say working with the grain was quite useful in terms of understanding how to build state capability, how to work with what is there, and how to be useful in the context. So taking into account different contexts and working with those contexts to actually bring out development. Definitely, I would recommend. I've noticed that from my country, there are usually one or two people, but I think it's because most people don't know about it. So I'll start from the organization that I'm working for and also cascade the information to others. I think people will benefit from participating in this program.
I'm Rufile Ntsege. I am a DA-MPL in the Gauteng legislature, and I live in Gauteng, in Kempton Park. I think it's been an incredible journey in the sense that I came to Cape Town to do policy development, but there was a lot more in terms of particularly the leadership module for me, which I use a lot at home with my kids and with the people that I work for to enhance the way that we work and get to understand people better Like one of the things was when people were difficult, I'd move away from them. Now with this module, I've learned to rather force myself to gravitate towards them and to grow after dealing with them and understanding who they are. So that's been an incredible journey for me. Friendships, I think that's incredible. A network of people from different arrays of, I would say, backgrounds, countries. And then obviously some of the lectures are very incredible. I think everybody, it's a blessing, the quality of lectures that we have, but the friendships with even the lecturers themselves, and knowing that we've had lectures from the likes of Harvard, which I now understand why, yes, UCT retains this first place in Africa, is because of the caliber of the people and the caliber of the teaching. And I'm forever grateful for that. You know, it's almost better to say what won't it help me with, because I can't imagine anything that this thing can't be applied to. I found myself even kind of with my friends using certain things that I've learned from this program. So there isn't an area that you can't apply it to. But I think me particularly being in an opposition party and having to hold government to account, I'm better equipped now to, you know, be discerning with my work, go through work with a fine-tooth comb from the skills that I've gotten out of the courses and saying, how do I better look at things? There's the different set of eyes that I can put on looking at annual report versus what I used to before I started this course. So I think I'm much more equipped in politics and beyond, because I think for me, when I went into this course, I wanted to know that I'm building myself beyond politics, because politics is not for forever. I can actually go anywhere in the world and I've got a marketable skill to sell. And I think that's what this course has done for me. Futures, yeah, I think everybody must go through this course. You will come out and more learned, but more importantly, I thought the leadership module was a by the way, but what I gained out of it was insight that's priceless. So everybody should do this course. It's a pity that you can't take the whole of South Africa in terms of public servants and politicians through it. I think we'd be a better country for it.
My name is Dogozo Chiako. I'm from Johannesburg. It has been amazing. Look, it took me a very long time to decide on which master's program to enroll on. But when I finally, a colleague recommended this, and she was actually correct that it was because I was looking for something that would equip me with practical skills. So it has been very, very helpful on my job and in the way that I think in general. A number of them, the Maths PDIA approach to problem solving has been really great. The learning from the colleagues as well, the debates, the ideas, I will really, I've learned a lot, and I will take this with me wherever I go. The class on monitoring and evaluation has been of great help in my job as well. In my career, look, I think because, as I said, that the way that it was structured, the practical approach, it will really, really help me. I don't see myself as a person who will like apply for a job and like because I've got the master's and get a job. I think, look, I'll get a job because I get a job, and so it will help me in terms of thinking and approaching problem solving whether I'm in the public sector or in the private sector, you know. So I enrolled for this course specifically because of the kind of thinking that I needed. I needed to widen my horizon and look at challenges in a different way. So I think it will really help in that way, not in terms of getting a job or promotion. Definitely I will recommend the program. My advice would be learn as early as possible how to use online resources. And don't wait until too late to start working on your assignments. Yeah, that would be very critical. And engage with your fellow students, engage with them, find out what they are experiencing in their own careers and the challenges that they're facing, because you'll find that you might be battling with a challenge only to find that someone sitting next to you has had a solution for years, you know. So that has helped. I mean, I'm a lawyer by profession, and there were things that I simply didn't know, you know, and I was sitting to the guys that have done these tools. They could do things with their eyes closed. And I was like, how did you know that? You know, and said, I've been using it for 10 years. So it has been fascinating. So I've learned a lot for the guys, because we all come from different sectors, different experiences, different qualifications. So communicate, engage, learn about other people. Don't just do your own thing on the side.
My name is Meli Sizwe. Blakey is the surname. I work for the Department of Planning, Monitoring, Evaluation, based in Pretoria. And I'm based in Pretoria and working in the Presidential Hotline program of the department. I think it has positively impacted in my life, especially my work life, in that I got to get experiences from people from different sort of spheres of work life. For instance, you've got guys here that work for organizations like the UNDP, the UNICEF. You've got guys working for the civil society, guys that are working for municipalities. So that in itself, it sort of broadens your scope and your outlook to things. Yeah. So in the work space, it has impacted positively for me. One, professional organization, to be professionally organized. I think that's key for me. And secondly, to not take things for granted in terms of what is happening in the country. And to have a belief that you can impact positively. Because as we are seated here, we're a bunch of 18 people seated here, but we tend to downplay the impact that you can make to the world out there. For instance, when we had Advocate Piccoli, when he was sort of engaging with us and the inputs that he got, he's the one who said, guys, never undermine the inputs that you have and how positively it can change the course of history in South Africa. So that to me, it really stood out. Yeah. From a personal point of view, it will help me to organize my life. Issues of time management, issues of relating. I think in terms of relationships, I think that's helped me a great deal. And in the work setting, it has helped me to organize my work and to organize my work in a proper and professional way, and also to share my experiences with colleagues, because a lot of people, they, especially in the I work in the government space, we are very insular in the way we think about things, and we think people know what we're doing as government, and until you come here and you get the feedback from colleagues, that's where you find that we are still having a long way to go to get people to understand what we're doing as government. So it will help me to sort of give feedback to colleagues to say, guys, we still got a lot of work to do. So in that way, I think That's how it will help me in the workspace. Highly recommend. And the advice that I would ask them to do is to pay, sort of to organize their life schedule properly, so that you have enough time for the studies, firstly, especially when you have gone back home or to wherever you live. Allocate sufficient time for your studies, and understand that this is a professional master's, and don't think that it's like any other academic master's. It's professional. You're balancing things, and just to get if you're working, get your employers to understand that this is a very tight program. Because what I picked here when I was here, there were a lot of interjections from work, calls and all of that, which is part of this. And if you manage to juggle or manage those interruptions, it means that you are quite dynamic, to manage those competing, challenges. So if you get that one right, you're on the highway to success.
My name is Trevor Kaunda. I am from Zambia. I work for my government now at Cabinet Office as a permanent secretary in charge of a division called Management Development Division. Well, this program has been very amazing in the sense that I am in a leadership role. So I decided to talk to somebody about furthering my studies to focus on policy, and they pointed me towards this program. And initially when I came in, I wasn't too sure what I'll get out of it. But being here on the program, I've discovered that I've learned so much. I didn't have the depth when it comes to development and economics, and through working with the lecturers, Brian Levy, working with the grain, I read the book and I was impressed with the information that I came across. So it helped me in terms of my work and also my leadership. We've had sessions with lecturers such as Chris Breen, and he's been very helpful to make me look inwards, to introspect as I work, grounding myself. When I'm stressed, I'm having a difficult time, I always remember those sessions where I sit and I reflect and just check in, breathe out, take a walk, and then be in the moment, be present, and practice active listening. So this is a journey, it's not a destination, it's something that I always have to constantly remind myself around. There are several aspects that I take away from this program. One, personal mastery, personal leadership, focus. What is it that you're doing in life? Are you able to put in your best at every given moment? Move away from the excuses and just get things done. Then secondly, there's also the aspect of the professional networking. We are, as students on this program, we are professionals in our various fields. So one of the takeaways that I also will go back with is the professional networking with colleagues. Consulting them would be very helpful as I continue to work in my space. So the rich experience that colleagues bring to the table is something that I value very much. It's not so much the marks as in who gets the best marks, but how do I tap into the networks that I've developed through here, within and amongst us as students, but also with the lecturers. The lecturers are very open to share more, even beyond the subjects that are being taught here, so that's very wonderful for me. I would say both. In terms of my career, it's to have that quest for knowledge. I have my own personal experiences in terms of my career development, but this has opened me up, challenged me a bit to be open to learn fresh information and look at how I apply it in my career. And then on a personal level, my children are growing. I've got a child who's in university now, and he's at a point where he needs that sort of guidance from me as a parent in terms of how he takes his career forward. He's practicing to be a lawyer, and so I'm hoping that when I go back, I'll have a deeper discussion with him around career progression, and also in the workplace, encouraging members of staff to believe in themselves, that they are enough as they are, and that with focus they can achieve more than what they're already achieving. Yes, definitely for future students, I would certainly recommend this program to them. And what I'd like to put on the table is make up your mind. If you decide to be on the program, I would not encourage you to leave before you complete. We always have challenges in life. Those will always be there. But what is key is prioritization. If you prioritize that in this phase of your life, you shall be in school pursuing this program, hang in there, do the best that you can so that you get that qualification, and then not just get the qualification, but how do you apply the fresh learning that you get from this program and implement in your life? It will show. Those around you will see that, yes, this is a transformed person who is implementing what they've learned in school.
My name is Ian Milimo. I am from Zambia, but I'm based in Istanbul, Turkey, working for UNDP there. This program has been very important, personally to my personal life and also professional life. We've gone through very important modules that have brought the real me. There's so many discussions that we had in class. The leadership program, for example, challenged us to look into ourselves and see how best we could bring the best out of us. In terms of many other courses professionally, going through problem analysis, looking at the theoretical framework of development, looking at the analytical frameworks that have been done by so many scholars, have actually brought me to a level where I can confidently conceive a project from start, develop it, be able to implement it, and also try to work on a monitoring framework. So essentially, I think this is a program that has helped me grow professionally and personally in many, many ways that I can't maybe itemize. Quite a number, actually. We were exposed to a number of tools which have been very instrumental in my professional growth. We went through the PDI process, which is essentially teaching you how to design a development intervention. I, for one, like in the first year, I did something on road traffic accidents. I was able to develop this analytical mindset where I would go deep down and ask myself the so what question. So essentially is be able to look at a problem from the genesis. You look at the root causes of the problem and be able to articulate and see what are some of the key issues that could have caused that. So essentially in a real world, I think what it does is to enable us to be able to address a problem holistically. Because many times we find ourselves trying to address the impact or the results as opposed to trying to dig down and see what is really causing this issue. So going through such tools during the course has been very instrumental. Already I think I'm able to apply so many of those in my daily life, be it at work, be it at home. So I think this is quite important. Again, in the first year, we went through quite a number of key themes with Professor Brian, with Alan, with Schnell, with Azaza. All those have basically enriched my understanding of development discourse, looking at models that have been very successful in terms of changing the world. We went through, for example, the Ethiopian model, which again is one of those that transformed that country in a big way. We looked at the model of South Korea, also very, very successful in terms of changing, and this is why we are seeing a different South Korea this time. We also quite looked at my country, Zambia, and looked at some of the challenges that could still be haunting my country right now in terms of how it projects itself in terms of development. We had quite a number of examples from South Africa. Again, very exciting to see how this country has transformed and also the challenges that it's facing. We ended up, I think, discussing about this hot topic on state capture. And these are key issues that are affecting many countries right now. In South Africa, you might be talking about state capture, but that state capture exists in many other countries in a different way. We have, for example, the influence of many other nationals that have come in, an example of China, which is heavily investing in Africa, and people are questioning whether that's the right type of investment that Africa needs. So essentially, I think there are quite a number of issues that we are able now to speak confidently about. We are able to look at them with an open mind. We're able to look at and be able maybe to provide solutions. Within the course, I was able to change job within an organization, and right now I'm focusing on a master's where I want to see whether there's a better way of developing development interventions as UNDP. You know, UNDP is the lead development partner of the UN. So essentially, we have this responsibility of designing development interventions globally. So I am actually critiquing that model and see whether there's an alternative discourse to this process, whether we may be able to develop more lasting or sustainable projects out there. So already I am using those skills to pump into my space and see whether some of the programs that we are designing can be done with a lens that focuses on sustainability, because now sustainability is a big issue. And what that means is simply when you are designing an intervention now, you should also have the needs and the thoughts of future generation. During the first year, I did mention already that I did an assessment of road traffic accidents. You might be excited to hear that I'm already converting that into a development project, which we hope we can implement in 10 countries in the world. And we hope we can change quite a number of things, because there are quite a number of people that are dying out of road traffic accidents, including South Africa. I think I was looking at statistics from Zimbabwe the other day, quite alarming. Zambia itself has not been spared from road carnage. So we hope through this course, the skills, the tools that we learn can help us change real things on the ground. And that is just one example of what I'm working on, that started from classroom discussion and now ending up into a big, huge project for UNDP. I hope the current draft that we have now is about $80 million. So we hope we can launch it maybe by the end of this year or next year and begin to. So we're at a stage where we are trying to identify countries where we're going to work in. So essentially, again, as I said, I've had an opportunity of learning the theoretical framework from class and given instant space for me to put it into practice by essentially designing development projects that are going to change people's lives. I have been a champion of this program back in my country. Have encouraged quite a number of people to apply, going as far as helping them in terms of sending them the link, finding the link. Very good in a number of ways. One, I think, for me, the mixture, the professors that have been brought together to deliver on this masters is amazing. We have people who have huge experience in the field. Brian worked for the World Bank for a long time. Matt Andrew is teaching in the US. Alan has been leading this program for a long time. Shanil, Chris Mazaza, Chris Brin, all those guys are just amazing in terms of how they're able to bring things. I have attended quite a number of workshops and training, but I think this is different in a number of ways. The leadership experience that I got from Chris' session, I've never went through that, despite having had so many opportunities to go for workshops, training. But the architecture is simply different. And I think anyone who thinks of joining this would be making a very wise decision. I hope the University of Cape Town can do a little bit more in terms of advertising this course in the region, so that we can have many more participants from many other countries. Yeah. In addition to that, I think maybe just also trying to identify additional partners who can support other students that may not be able to pay for themselves to be on this course, because essentially this course is just a masterclass.
My name is Authur. I'm from Botswana, but I'm based here in South Africa. I'm the CEO of the Southern Africa Trust. It's a regional policy advocacy NGO that works on building the capacity of civil society in Southern Africa and amplifying the voices of the poor in policymaking spaces within SADC. Wow, it's been, I'll start with telling you a little story actually. The first semester, I remember going back to work and saying to my colleagues, I was actually humbled by the process because I got to discover that I know a lot about very little. And the reason being the kind of modules and the conversations we're having were helping us to drill a little bit deeper beyond just conventional wisdom about how policy making happens and who shapes policies. And for somebody like myself who's been working in a policy advocacy space, it was quite an eye-opener in terms of just being able to think differently about how I get to identify strategic entry points. I think it's been really a privilege to be able to take time away from a very busy work schedule, to be able to reflect on very practical policy questions that I'm working on, and to dig a little bit deeper. So throughout the coursework, I've been choosing topics that are very relevant to the work. Like the first thing that I worked on, I remember, was around trying to understand how informal traders in Zimbabwe could influence city planning, city bylaws. And I moved from the general idea of the movements that we were supporting at the time needed to focus their strategy on trying to influence the city council, and thinking that the city council was actually the enemy, to get into a point where I understood that the groups needed to build alliances with the city council, because it turned out that the city council did not have the political power to be making the policy changes that we needed. So just being able to get to a point where you actually think about an alternative that unlocks a potential. And it was quite revealing, because we'd been doing this work for over 3 years, and it had never occurred to us to change tactics in the engagement with the city council, and looking at shifting the conversation to a national level where the power really sits. That context matters, and that when we work on policy questions, it helps to be really specific about what it is that we're trying to do, why that is. But I think what I took away more was to be a lot more inquisitive in trying to understand why things happen the way that they do. And once you understand the problem better, and you're understanding the processes that are driving decisions around that, I think it then makes it easier to be able to find potential entry points for solutions. The other thing that I really found quite beneficial was the leadership modules, and the notion of being able to manage yourself and build emotional leadership capabilities, both in the personal and the work front. And once you invest in that, it's really easier to bring the best of yourself into the workspace. I think that has really been useful in really trying to balance the demands of work, the demands in the work front, and just how I show up as a citizen in this world. Yeah, I think like I said before, I mean, it's really equipped me with the tools to do the problem analysis better. And I've also built like some really powerful networks while I've been here. Networks within, from the group that we're working with, but also networks just in terms of having access to the experts who are resource persons in the program, and having access to a much wider resource base that actually strengthens the evidence that I'll be taking into my different workspaces. I would highly recommend it. I mean, this is my second master's, but this is very different. It's very practical, immediately applicable, and I think I feel a lot more empowered than I was before I started the master's. A lot of people ask, "You've been working in this space for so long. Why do you need a master's?" But just from what I've been able to draw out of it, it's quite clear why people who work in the policy space, people who work in government, people who work in civil society. I've been working for many years and trying to influence governments, but I didn't really know how governments work. And I think I've got greater insights in understanding how the bureaucratic system works, how policy is made, and that governments are made up of individuals, and a much more nuanced understanding of what this government that I'm trying to influence looks like.
My name is Mtobeli Sojita. I'm from the province of Eastern Cape, but working for the Department of Rural Development and Land Reform in KwaZulu-Natal province under the branch of Rural Enterprise Development. I'm the manager there. I've started in KwaZulu-Natal since 2013. The program has helped me in many ways, but I'll mention a few. It has helped me to improve my emotional intelligence, my self-awareness, and also the analysis of the policy. The engagements with our African counterparts has assisted me a great deal in terms of understanding how the other states or countries operate and how their governance is structured. So that is what I'm taking away from this program. So it has also improved my communication skills with my team at work and also with my stakeholders that I work with from time to time. Yes, it has assisted me a great deal in terms of research and also in terms of the analysis of the policy, the governance, and also the implementation, the approach in terms of the policy development and implementation thereof. That I can vouch for. It has assisted me a great deal, and also a better understanding of the organizational structures and also the governance. So the program I can even recommend to my co-workers to come here, because when I live here, I sort of practice what I've gathered over here to my co-workers. So I think it will be also lovely for them to come here and engage with other African nationals, and also with the researchers that are presenting the courses. They're sharing great experience because they've traveled the world and they've got a better understanding of each and every continent, how it operates, and then we take it and custom make it for our South African context. So it has assisted me a great deal. In my personal life, it has assisted me, even in my family. I communicate better with my family. I communicate better with my kids. I also communicate better with my co-workers at work. So in terms of the career path, I think now I've improved in terms of leadership with my team. I also improved in terms of communicating with the external stakeholders that I engage with from time to time. Certainly, I will recommend it to other people. For the future students, I think when they come over here, they must forget everything that is happening outside this room and focus on the experience and focus on the tools that is shared by our well-seasoned researchers and professors that are facilitating the workshop. And they will learn a great deal because our professors here, they've got a wealth of knowledge, they've got a wealth of experience, they've worked on various organizations, they've conducted in-depth research. So I would advise them when they come over here to be selfish and focus on themselves and absorb every little knowledge that is shared by both the facilitators or the professors as well as the colleagues or students that they are with.
My name is Diese Chimona. I am from Malawi and I work for UNICEF in Malawi as a health specialist. I have a medical background coming from the nursing sector. I've worked in the public health service, but now I'm in the private sector doing public health. It's been an exciting journey for me. It's been a journey of self-discovery, and the program has helped me in my personal life and also professional life. So when I was coming to join this course, I thought that it was going to be so much about the professional life, how to advance in my career, but in the course of the process, I noted that there are so many aspects that are provided that can also help you on how to deal with personal life. So it's been a journey of self-discovery, like I said, trying to understand myself, how I can manage very difficult situations, but also how I can manage other people in such circumstances. The first key aspect for me was that sometimes we face difficult situations, and even though we may try very hard to deal with those situations, it might be very difficult for you to overcome some hurdles. So in such cases, how do you manage yourselves and how do you manage other people? Secondly, like I said earlier, it was also more about, yourself as a human being. How do you manage other people that are blocking your way in many, courses of life, be it professional or also personal, in the home, relatives, and also, as you are advancing, dealing with policymakers, what are the critical things that you need to bear in mind when you are dealing with high-level people, but also low-level people in our professional journey? I think this course has prepared me, to advance in so many aspects of my life, but most importantly, on how I can excel in my professional life and how I can take on senior positions in the public health sector. Like I said earlier on, I'm working in the public health space. So how I can excel in that space, how I can, contribute to development of various policies that affect health, and how I can monitor the processes that are very critical for us to respond to the needs of the people on the ground. Because so many times the programs that we develop, in some instances, they don't respond to the needs of the people. So how do you embrace the people that you're serving in your professional career? That's a very critical thing that I've learned personally. First of all, if you want to join the program, you have to be committed to, work on the, various aspects of the course. You need to make sure that you are prepared to come and attend all the courses that you are required to come and attend twice every year. So there's a need for advanced planning. If you're working, you need to tell your colleagues well in advance that, for this month of the year, I'll be out of the country. When you get back, you need to find a way of how you can balance your family life and also your professional life. That requires a lot of engagement with your spouse, your children, or your boss at work. But also you need to rely on your colleagues that are also on the program. Personally, I benefited a lot from them. So whenever I was facing any challenge, it was very easy for me to just call people in Zambia, Namibia, or wherever to seek advice, but also to get some level of support from them.
I'm Sumaya Beaudin. I'm a senior legal advisor at the South African Medical Research Council. Our organization focuses on creating a healthy nation through research and innovation and improving the health of all the South Africans, especially the less fortunate South Africans in accessing public health services. I'm a senior legal advisor, so I'm a lawyer by trade. That is a very limited scope professionally and also practically. And because I'm currently working in the public sector, and I've actually discovered a passion for the public sector, and I would like to remain in the public sector for the rest of my career, I thought to myself, what skills can I learn besides the legal skills that I've already basically mastered that can supplement what I'm currently doing? Then I started doing research about obviously improving my academic career or my academic status in going further and doing a master's program. And then I researched different master's programs and at the various universities. And as I'm from Cape Town, and because UCT is also an internationally recognized university, I came across this master's. It was also promoted when I worked at provincial government for public sector professionals in the management sphere. And then I looked at what they offering, and I decided these are skills that I actually need in my profession and where I am at the moment, and it will also take me further in the public sector, and that's how I decided to embark on this master's program. What I've learned so far, I've learned various skills which I wouldn't have been able to learn had I undertaken a normal legal master's. I've learned monitoring and evaluation skills. I've learned policy development skills, economics, research methods, and also what's important in both your professional and personal life is leadership skills, and also professionalizing the public service. The public service, unfortunately, in South Africa doesn't have the best reputation, but the skills that you learn here, you can take forward and actually improve the public service. So I'm happy I'm in this program. It's broadened my horizons. It's opened my view of the world. So I'm more perceptive to current affairs that's happening in the world. I take note of basically more things that are important both regionally and globally. And I've also learned like leadership skills, how to manage people, how to deal with people, and that will help me in both my personal and my professional life. Patience, professionalism, emotional maturity, things like that. So the fact that we have a diverse class from not only South Africa but other regions in Africa, that has broadened my horizons as well, and we've made good friendships, which I'm sure will last a lifetime, both personally and professionally. And then also the lecturers, they are also very diverse, and each one brings their own experience and skills to the program. They're professional. However, we are also treated professionally because we are not only students in the program, we are also professionals in our own right. And what I enjoyed about the course is they recognized our professionalism and they tried to focus on each of our individual interests and our focus areas and try to hone those skills so that you can be improved as an individual, both generally and specifically. And yeah, I enjoyed their professionalism. My advice to future students would be, at the beginning, it seems daunting, but once you engage with your lecturers, once you engage with the faculty staff, they are very helpful and they will understand where you're coming from and they will go out of their way to try and help you and tailor things to suit both the faculty and the individual as a student and as a professional.